We received a lot of emails over the past couple of weeks with people saying, hey, Serge, where are your sector highlight videos? I want to see another one of those. So we're going to do one right now where the spotlight is on one sector that we particularly like right now from the long side. And so what we're going to look at is we look at the sector of stocks, why there's some tailwinds in our opinion, and then some individual names as well. So let's dive right into it. And the sector we're going to focus on here today is healthcare. Now, if you follow our process, whether you're a subscriber or a follower, you know that the way we look at things is always from sort of a top-down perspective, and ultimately we overlay it with technicals. So when we look at the top-down perspective, just from a charting perspective for a minute, what we're noticing here, if you're taking the healthcare sector and it divided by the S&P 500, we've once again arrived at a very important support line that has been essentially support since the second point in line there, which was about 15, 12, let's call it 13 years ago. And so this is an important trend line in terms of its relative strength or weakness. This shows that the relative weakness of healthcare versus the S&P 500 may have come to an inflection point where we might start to see relative strength in this sector. From sort of a more fundamental perspective, if you want to call it that, I really think it's more of a structural perspective. We do think that as we start to get more reopenings of the global economies, the U.S. economy in this particular specific example specifically, as we see more of that, more people are going to start going out again, getting treatments that they've been putting on hold for the past 12 plus months, and we do think there's a lot of tailwind there for the healthcare sector. The healthcare sector, of course, is a very broad sector, so that actually speaks for even more opportunity. But if you have a look at the just the XLV, which is again an ETF tracking the S&P 500 healthcare sector of stocks, we are essentially trading at an all-time high. But you'll see this in a minute as we go a bit deeper into a couple individual names. You can see that the move higher here is happening in really nice and orderly steps. Again, because it's such a diversified sector, you get an orderly move higher, and that's really, really nice. So you can see just from a price action perspective how when we had that dive in 2020, we rebounded, we built a base, moved higher, built another base, moved higher, built another base, and I think we are now potentially on the next leg higher again. So that's just on the sector level. Now, if you look at a couple individual names here, we're going to start off with something called CVS. A lot of you folks might know what that is. It's a pharmacy, and again, this is a very different name from the one I'm about to show you, but the patterns, the bullish price action underneath is just as interesting. So you can see here you have a stock that essentially has been forming a double bottom, if you want to call that. It's coiling below resistance literally right now, when we think this is a name that could work really well as a continued reopening works. CVS, a stock that I've been mentioning to clients and members for some time now. We think they're going to benefit from the reopening as they have more foot traffic coming into the stores due to vaccinations, and again, people getting more treatment. So that's one thing. But on a completely different level or a different area of healthcare, you have something called a stock like Medtronic. And I want to be clear, none of these are recommendations. These are just observations on our part in research. But you look at something like Medtronic, more in the medical devices area than anything else, you can see a stock that, it's more or less held its uptrend. But of course, it took a big hit in 2020, rebounded, and it's now literally coiling. I mean, you can feel it coiling just looking at the chart here in the weekly chart. And it actually just, as I'm recording this the other day, just actually scored a marginal little breakout move. I don't know if you can see that. So sector spotlight is all about understanding what the tailwinds are for a sector or the headwinds if it's a bearish idea. So I'm hoping I've been able to show you a little bit of our process, the structural, the fundamental reasons, how we overlay that using a sector approach, and then look at individual names that might be interesting within that sector for that. So hope you enjoy this. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment if you'd like, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.